Welcome back, everybody. Cappuccino behind the scenes here at another great episode of Roger That Chronicles. We got Chris in the house. We got Josh in the house. There's a familiar face right there. Hey, Chef, you were on one of the original series here of Roger That Chronicles. Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Yeah,
appreciate you, Jason.
I did a couple shows here.
Yeah, a couple. Did a little more than a couple. We got somebody new that I just met today, U.S. Air Force here. So, I'm excited about getting all these introductions out. But first, listen, if you like what you see here today, don't be afraid to go to the old YouTube box, 216 Creator Studios. Like, share, subscribe, ding that bell for the future notifications. Always appreciating the support. Listen, we love you loving this show. But if you don't, put it in the comments. Let us know what you don't like about it. We're always willing to improve. How do you grow without knowing, right? And so I'm going to hand this off to Josh. We're going to talk a little bit about VPH.
Yeah, absolutely. So Veterans Path to Hope has 10 different programs that assist veterans and their families. Anything from employment to housing, peer support, and outdoors programming. We do a lot of different things from Wednesdays dinners, Fridays hikes, and we collaborate with events that are going on throughout the community in hopes to connect with every and any veteran that needs those assistance. So there was a lot to say in one breath, man.
Good stuff.
I am a peer support specialist and a case manager for one of those programs, Staff Sergeant Fox. And we're located in Grays Lake at the landing zone. We have our location in Crystal Lake that has walk-in fridge, walk-in freezer, and the majority of our programs that we have for Veterans Path to Hope. So if you need any help, need anything, give them a call, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. With what's happening in August.
In August, we have an event with Rock to Stop 22. It is going to be at Sweet Minnehaha in Broadhead, Wisconsin. This is their 10th annual event. So they've been able to put on these music festival for 10 years now. This is hopefully going to be their biggest one. We got a lot of resources coming out. They have vendors coming out. Food trucks will be there, some really cool rock bands. And it's from August 21st through the 23rd with a beginning event for veterans and it's called Yak to Stop 22. So we're going to be going from Albany, Wisconsin, all the way down to Broadhead to Sweet Minnehaha. And then, if those individuals want to stay for the concert, they're more than welcome to. But if they don't, we'll be at the campground in time for them to get out before the chaos begins. So awesome. Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Thanks for sharing, and thanks VPH for sponsoring the show. So today we have Jason, who's a Marine, and we also have a senior airman, Payton, the Air Force. So welcome you both to the show.
Thank you.
So you both have something in common, but first, why don't you just share a little bit about your time in service? Like, why did you pick the branch you chose and what your job was? What did you do? So I'll let you go ahead and go first, Josh.
All right, sure.
Jason.
Josh, Jason, same thing. I've been called worse.
Josh is over here.
I know.
Or we
I
can
tell you,
pretend
no
so.
worries.
I'll be Josh, you be Jason.
Ooh,
All right.
I'm always the one to mess up first. So
Hey. Hungry? Throw them right at your eyeballs. Turn them into weapons. No, so name's Jason. Went to Crystal Lake South. Joined the Marine Corps back in 2004. Well, I enlisted straight out of high school. So main driving force was 9/11. So, lost in 2 planes in school, hit the buildings, all that good stuff or whatever. And, I wasn't joining for school benefits and all that. I just had this, higher power calling, you need to go do this. And I need a swift kick in the pants because, I was growing up in the whole punk rock realm and all that stuff and doing all sorts of things you're not supposed to be doing, not coming home, drinking underage and getting wild out and stuff. But Yeah, I want to do the Marine Corps because, you know, I saw my recruit. He's like 6'5", this like crazy mortarman guy. Was like the epitome of like, holy cow, this is great. Was watching clips of boot camp. I'm like, man, this is insane. So lo and behold, signed up, wanted to do the whole infantry thing. Deployed twice with 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines at a Conococheague base. So it could have been a lot worse as a duty station. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted, I was kind of a masochist. So I just wanted to like get my arse kicked and see a third world country and, you know, appreciate what we have here, because ultimately, like, we got high class problems, and it's just very, you know, we can try to pseudo intellectualize type of stuff or whatever, play semantics all day, but at the end of the day, like, we have it pretty made. But it's just that certain generations have not really had any hardships. So then, you know, it's like they need to create some sort of drama that doesn't exist. It's a boogeyman that doesn't exist and shit. And it drives me nuts, but I digress. I'm not going to get too far off topic on that stuff. But anyway, I have a big appreciation.
We like rabbit holes around.
We do, but I don't want to get too lost on it either.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to Payton.
Oh, geez. Where do I
Welcome,
start?
Payton.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you for coming.
My military journey started, honestly, I was in high school, and the Marines came in, and they bring in the pull-up bar, and everyone would go and rip it. And I was like, dude, awesome. These guys are ripped. They got sick tats. You know, they got awesome dress uniforms. I'm like, this is the shit. And so I was ready to join the Marines. I got out of high school, and I looked at it for a while, and I was like, oh God, you know, if I'm going to do it, you know, I should do it the smart way, and, you know, go to college and go through ROTC, and then, you know, get paid the big bucks. So I was like, all right, I'm going to have to look at a college, figure all that out. And by the time I got there, I was like, God, I was working in blue collar, just doing a bunch of different random gigs. And I kind of turned myself off of college because I hated high school. I was like, I just did enough to get by. You know, I passed, I graduated, I got my diploma, but, you know, I recognized whether I like it or not, you know, school's not for me. And so I'm just going to go the enlisted route. So I start talking with recruiters. I'm 19, but my parents are obviously a big part of my life. And so I'm like, hey, why don't you guys come in, talk with recruiters and see what you think. And so I bring my parents in. We're talking with the recruiter. He's really selling them on it. And it's the dumbest little thing, but my Marine recruiter just had the worst grammar. And I don't know what it was. I've met with him a few times before. You know, he took me out to eat previously. So, you know, he was in my good graces. But something about, you know, him just like not speaking proper English in front of my parents just totally turned me off. And I was like, God, I don't want to be like this guy. You know, this is not the guy that I, you know, saw in my high school. So I started talking with family friends that had been in the Marines, been in the Army, been in the Air Force, and time again, every single one of them was like, just go Air Force, just go Air Force. You'll thank me later. You're gonna feel like, you know, a little girl because your boot camp isn't as long as everybody else's, but you'll be glad you did because the quality of life is there. So that's what I did. I enlisted at 19. Back in 2022, and you know, it was a way for me to get out of the young and dumb adolescent things that I was doing when I was that age, and you know, get out of a toxic household. So I went over to the UK, and that was my first duty station. I was in RF transmission systems, which and in the UK was primarily tactical radios for fighter pilots. We had four different fighter squadrons. We had some F-15s and some F-35s. And so we would go on TDYs here and there to a few different European countries and set up radios for them.
5-star restaurants.
Yep.
Or
Only 4 stars.
Well, you know,
Only 4 stars,
in England, they have this type of pudding called, this may sound a little adult oriented. It's called spotted dick.
I never got to try any of that.
Never heard of that?
No, and I'm not sad I didn't hear about it till now because I would have hated to see what that looks like.
No, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like it's a sponge cake sort of thing, kind of like a fruit cake, raisins, all that stuff. So English people love their beef soot mixed with raisins and flour and all that stuff. But you could actually get it at Jewel by Heinz. It's a spotted dick on there. A buddy of mine brought it home, and because we were all into the English punk rock like subculture and all that stuff. So let me check this out. I'm like, you know, this shit ain't that bad. Actually, it's pretty good. So, and I give one of my Marine buddies a hard time. He was a retired gunnery sergeant, and his wife is from England. So I'll always like, anyone from England, I'm asking you that question. And they always get a big kick. I was like, yeah, I know what that is. So,
Yep.
So food for thought, no pun intended. So
I'll give it a try.
Sure.
I'll give every kind of food a try the first
put
time.
a little
You know,
butter on
gotta
it.
give
Sweet.
once.
Yep. It's good.
Awesome. But
Well,
yeah,
since
so
we went to oh, go ahead.
no, continue.
Were you finished?
Just about. Yeah.
Go ahead and finish. I don't want to interrupt
No,
you.
all good. But did a bunch of different things over there, and at some point, you know, some things happened with an airman on base, and so given what happened, I got an expedited transfer back to the U.S. to be stationed close to family, and so I was relocated to Whiteman and supported the B2 until I decided it was time for me to get out. I wanted to do something different, something of my own, you know, that wasn't for Uncle Sam, and so I separated and Palace chased into the reserves, and now I'm working on a restaurant. So
Are you still in the reserves?
yeah,
Okay.
I am in the reserves. I'm in an IMA billet though, so it's individual mobile augmentee. So I'm stationed in an active duty squadron, and so instead of going, you know, every weekend a weekend once a month,
Mhm.
it's larger stints. So you know, you go 12 days for your, you know, annual training, and then you've got 24 shifts or 12 days basically. For all of those other weekends, you know, those weekends that I'm not doing
Right.
in a
Right.
traditional reserve billet. So
When did you, how long have you been in for right now currently? What's like your,
I'm just over 4 years. I enlisted in February of 22.
Okay.
And then transitioned from active to reserves in April of 25.
gotcha.
So, being that you went to food,
Yes.
what food did you miss while you were serving? That's for you too, Josh.
Yeah, well, before I even
think
thought
everybody's got
about
their food they miss.
going to calling school, I remember I was in Iraq. We're on post and we had like these IR intercoms and stuff. So we're looking over the town and all that stuff. And it's like, you know, you start questioning like, why did I do this? But like, you know, hey, this is what I asked for and stuff like that, because I'm grateful that I went through that massively extreme hardship, because like any stuff that happens to me now, I'm like, I laugh at that shit. I'm like, whatever. Oh, car broke down, whatever, big deal. It'll get fixed somehow. I don't care. And it always get like, I don't know. I've always had like the best of luck and stuff. Or like last year I did Vet Fest. And it was probably the hottest day out of the year. And I
Like
had
today.
that going on. Like today, yeah, it was pretty much like today, maybe a little hotter. And I had my big cooker just blast and heat my face. And I had my buddy just Bob Team Snack Attack Popcorn. Had to shout there.
Love that guy.
Feeding me just water, all, you know, liquid deaths and stuff. I'm like, whatever, this ain't shit. And so I look at those types of things as like mental callousing, because you ain't going to get nowhere in life without it. Like, you know, I hate to say it, but like, you know, I can't necessarily be, it's more of like a controlled chaos, because I don't want let myself get too comfortable and all that, not to be like a over the top David Goggins, because that guy's a little bit too much, but I got to be realistic. However, I'm on post and I just kept thinking about like Buca de Beppo's, and it's kind of like a cookie cutter Italian place chain, but it is better than Olive Garden. I'll give them that. And they have like huge meatballs, and I'd always like pretend I was like of age and stuff. So the waiter would always come by and they're like, what do you want to drink? And we're like, oh, we'll have some Manhattans for sure. And sometimes they'd give it to us and sometimes they wouldn't. But that was the wonderful thing about Hawaii, is that like you can pay the bouncer off and they your wristband, and then you felt like an adult and drinking underage and eating pasta and all that stuff. And that's actually when I had my first experience with sushi, second experience, but it was actually my more favorable experience because it had a little more of a refined taste palette. But yeah, Italian food, I mean, I could pretty much fantasize about eating anything that you're deprived of for like months and months, even like a cold drink that, you know, it was like 4 months, and then we finally got like refrigeration and crap like that. So like Rippets and then Mountain Dew. Yeah, you know what's up. And it's like
Rippets.
yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, you know. So, and you know, I hated it. You know, it was miserable, but I'm like, no, this is all part of like my calling and stuff, because when I'm in that kitchen or a kitchen environment, you know, sweating your ass off, all that stuff, you got to think under pressure. Like, you know, when I got in my first firefight, it's like, holy cow, you know, this is crazy. But then I'd switch over to, going to culinary school, getting a taste for that. I'm like, just like a firefight, just without guns and stuff like that. And like my way of adapting and overcoming is just flawless. Now I'm like, okay, whatever, fine.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because I know I use that motto a lot, and
Yes.
I'm like, adapt and overcome. That's what you have to do. And I've had people say, no, that's a Marine thing. We don't do that. We didn't learn that.
Hey, good luck in life then, because that is some improvise, adapt, and overcome, and you always have to use your surroundings.
Yeah.
So like there are tools there that you didn't even know you had that you can jerry rig stuff or whatever it may be. Because Marine Corps, we're the brokest, poorest branch. Yeah, there you go. Brokest, poorest branch, and like, here, go out and do this shit. I don't give a shit how you do it. Just do
Get
it.
it done.
And you come up with some intuitive ass stuff. It's like, holy cow. All right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how creative you can be.
Yeah,
You really put your head.
absolutely. So,
Well, it's also like you were saying, having a warm rip it, you
Yeah.
learn to enjoy that.
That's what we latched
right?
on to.
Right.
Well, I mean, you can either make excuses or you can make shit happen.
Right. You get used to that type of suck, and then when you come back home, like, oh, I get to have a cold drink whenever I
Right.
want, or a lukewarm drink, not something that's scalding hot.
right.
Like, this is
It's
fantastic.
like coffee, we had boxes of water when we were in Marwana, just sitting in the sun. I'm like, this is the dumbest. Like, why would you put boxes or no, like bottled waters
Yep.
where the sun is shining through there? I'm like, you stupid.
Yep. They
Yeah.
do that in all the branches. So
Oh yeah,
it's not,
yeah.
it's not just you guys.
Okay,
They're all,
yeah,
they're all
yeah,
idiots.
it's like hot coffee or whatever. I'm like, God damn. So, but yeah, I mean, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And then there was a point I wanted to make too, to where, you really get an understanding of the fight or flight response. Your head will come up with all sorts of excuses not to follow through with stuff or whatever, but that is basically your subconscious programming trying to keep you safe. And I learned that years later with meditative practices, reading a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza books, psychology of how mind-body connection, neuronal connections, and all that fancier pants stuff. But when something is freaking you out, that's not necessarily you. That is your fail-safe mechanism trying to keep you safe. So when I have an exhaust system falls off my food truck when I first did this thing years ago, I'm like, we're on my way to Rush Creek. And then the exhaust system falls off. I'm like, all right, get on there, jerry the stuff up or whatever. But basically, you just ignore that fail-safe system because it's trying to keep you safe, but it's going to screw you over in the long run. Going constantly into the unknown, pretty much that's culinary all the time. Unknown.
That's life in general.
Yeah, life in general. In the unknown is where you thrive and you truly master yourself and stuff like that. And then once you get comfortable in that, it's like, all right, cool. I got nothing to fear because it's it'll figure itself out.
Yeah,
So
you've
What
seen
they
the worst
say.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
nothing
much.
to fear but fear itself.
absolutely. So it's pretty much just an illusion. So
Yeah. Well, how about you, Payton?
Oh god, my culinary experience really pushed me towards sushi. Like as far as when I was in the U.S. prior to leaving, all I ate was sushi. Like if it was birthday, special anniversary, whatever it was, like my go-to was always sushi because that was the one thing that I was terrible at making. I grew up around barbecue. My grandfather was great at that. I learned all that. I knew how to make homemade sides. My mom was from Iowa, so I got a bunch of those root and tootin' Iowa sides that I knew how to make.
And this is why you joined the Air Force, right? Because you knew the food was going to be better.
I don't know that I buy that. I don't know that I buy that at all.
Okay, let me ask you a question. When you went to your DFAC, were you able to pick how your eggs were cooked?
On the flat, if they cooked it on the flat top, yeah.
See, we got scrambled.
and we had that powder shit too.
Right.
It was
If
just
we were
got
out
water,
in the field,
shake it
Oh,
around.
yeah. I mean, everybody's got that. We had those, but they had a flat top, and most of them were obviously not in basic. But once you were out of basic, if you were in tech school or any one of my my actual duty locations, you would have like the buffet line, and then there was a little flat top where you could in the morning you could order omelets and stuff,
A
and then
smoothie.
that was hit and miss. But in the afternoon you got like different sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm gonna break this thing. You could customize, like, I want this kind of Philly cheesesteak, and they'd make it fresh on the spot.
Wow.
Yeah, see, no booze, man. That was the craziest thing. One of them actually, they had a booze fridge, but it didn't have any booze in it. It had sodas. It was the crazy. I'm like, why are you guys teasing me like this?
Yeah.
No, not that lucky.
So sushi was your food. How about you, Josh?
I would have to say what I missed the most when I went over there was just like a good home cooked meal. The whatever it was irrelevant. It was more of missing, the people that were around it.
The food cooked with love.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I could be like, man, I could really go for a burger right now, or I miss being around the table with my family, and so I think I missed that the most. And so my favorite thing would have been like my grandmother's mashed potatoes and gravy, because like she made that during like massive amounts of individuals. But I mean, and then when you get back, you have this newfound, I want to try a lot of different things. I just survived something that ultimately could have killed me, but didn't. So when I came back from Iraq, I started trying all sorts of different kinds of foods. And like even in Iraq, I had Iraqi food.
That stuff was pretty good, man.
Yeah,
But you got to be careful not to get the bubble tummy or whatever, which will last a couple days.
Right.
Stuff like this.
But I mean, it was really amazing food. And then when I went to Korea, again, really amazing food. I got to, and I'm an architectural guy. I like looking at architect and stuff like that. So when I went over to Iraq, like the towers that I would see, these spiral towers, I'm like, oh man, that's really cool. The cross swords going into Samara, really another really cool thing. The street food that you smell when you're doing patrols, it's like, man, I'm hungry right now, and all you got is like your dry NASA crackers and your MRE to chew on. You're like, oh man, right, you gotta smell first and take a quick bite.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
So, I mean, I missed just a home cooked meal. Honestly, it could have been barbecue, it could have been whatever. I just missed that home cook. Now I'm hungry.
So then what was the best meal that you did have while you were serving? Did you get like a steak dinner or something?
If you got steak and lobster, you were in trouble, or something really bad was about to happen. So, like, if they were like, "Hey, we're gonna have steak and lobster," you were very,
you're going in a hot zone.
Speculatory.
When you say in service, are you talking like
active,
anywhere
like,
or specifically from a DFAC?
wherever while serving?
Because I mean, like,
And you're gonna say, yeah, my restaurant now.
Yeah.
no, well, because anywhere, or even in service. Like, when I was in Finland, dude.
Service
Right.
food.
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause service food. Oh my god, dude, the medical DFAC at Oric Lake and Heath. It was like this hidden gem, and those who knew about it still didn't even use it. There were like so few people that used it. It was in the hospital, and it was for hospital people, but like they weren't allowed to restrict it to them only. It was just like for them because they had weird shifts and stuff, and they did the flight line DFAC was the only one that was open crazy late. So like, well, we need food for the DFAC, and so anybody could use it during the day. And so we found out about it from one of our medical friends, and anything and everything out of that kitchen was phenomenal. Some of the staff would make the stuff like from scratch, like their own recipes.
Wow.
Like they would have them ship in supplies for them to make their own recipes that they would make at home in the DFAC. So it was just wild, like, and all sorts of cuisines. That was my best meal. Never ate at the regular DFAC after that ever again.
Wow.
I have to say shepherd's pie. I really liked shepherd's pie. And then another good one is chili mac MRE. I mean,
that looks good actually.
Right, you go from chili mac where you're not gonna poop for days.
Yeah.
To food that's gonna make you poop for days.
Yep.
To shepherd's pie.
Nope.
Where did you have the shepherd's pie at?
So we on base we had a small JSS. It was two companies of Delta Company, which was heavy weapons, and then two companies of Alpha. So, or two platoons from Alpha. So they had anywhere like 50 guys in their platoon, where we had maybe a total of 18. So we had maybe 200 people on our base. And our cooks they had a little bit of freelance of what they could do with their seasonings and stuff like that. But it's not, and especially if they felt like they were taken care of, like definitely better food. It wasn't made with love, but it was made with forced happiness, you know?
And you can taste it too.
Right, and you can taste the difference.
Yes, yeah, that's good.
It wasn't in a package.
Yeah,
Right. So I was able to have that while I was over in Iraq. And shepherd's pie, it didn't matter if it was a crappy day. In Iraq, it still rains during like monsoon season and stuff. So even if it was pouring on us and we walked in just all nasty, muddy smelling, if you smelled shepherd's pie, I was like, all right, I gotta go take a shower, get in there real quick,
absolutely.
get my first plate, hide that second plate, so.
One of the few dishes I think the English really got right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they don't like a lot of flavor in their stuff. So
No,
I think
they don't. Oh my God.
Boil everything.
Yep.
Yeah,
Brutal. I
the
don't
meat, the veggies, everything is
Yep.
know how they ate the shit they ate. I don't know how they live the way they live. Blew my mind. I was like, I thought I was in a first world country, and I go to watch a movie, and of course I picked the best movie to watch in a country with no AC anywhere. I watched Oppenheimer.
There you go.
And so I'm there for 3 hours. I'm like, how do they live without that? I'm like, I thought we were like, pretty similar. I'm like, half their cars don't even have it. It's insanity.
Another privilege that we have here.
Yep,
right?
Yep.
God bless. Very blessed.
How about you?
So, I really didn't have any memorable stories or memories of eating great food from Marine Corps facilities per se.
So
shocked.
it kind of
Yeah,
seems
right.
like it's gone downhill
No
here
way.
So,
with the Air Force,
however-
down to Army, down to Marines.
Yeah. However, I was stationed in Hawaii, so we had a lot of good stuff. But yeah, Hawaii, where I got to have, good sushi, different, culture stuff. Pizza's nasty out over there, of course. Chicago definitely has some of the best pizza, and it's not deep dish, tavern style thin crust.
Amen.
That predates deep dish about 23 years from Pizzeria Uno. However, Uncle Jerry's is my favorite deep dish in Cary, or one of them actually. But yeah, it cracked my brain open because they had some pretty good French food out over there too. Hawaiian food, spam eggs, all that good stuff. Lots of sushi. Lots of Long Island iced teas from this place called Sansei's that we were drinking underage and getting the, beef tenderloin and thinking we're all fancy pants and all that stuff. So, but yeah, that was fantastic. I mean, I spent my own money on it. And then I just started getting obsessed with barbecue because I was starving. It was like 2006 or 7. I was watching a Travel Channel on like the birth of dry rub ribs. So Memphis, Tennessee, they go to the rendezvous where you got to go downstairs in the basement and all that stuff and, not get mugged. And I was like, dry rub ribs, what the hell is this? So I'm like watching this stuff at like 3 a.m. when I was doing guard duty around the barracks to make sure no one's like streaking or running around naked or anything in the barracks back in Hawaii. Yeah, I'm sure people get all wild out on the weekends and stuff, drinking and stuff on base. So yeah, I was stuck on duty. I'm like, man, this looks so good. And then my buddy went to go to Memphis to try out the stuff over there. It's like, yeah, it's a completely different animal than what I'm used to in Illinois because it's like, take ribs, boil it, sauce it. I'm like, no, that's an abomination. And then the movie Planet Terror, directed by Robert Rodriguez, came out too a couple months later, where Rose McGowan has a machine gun for a leg, and it's like a zombie film with Bruce Willis. Phenomenal, cult classic. And this guy named JT, played by Jeff Fahey, he has a like barbecue restaurant. It just looks like a rundown like barn sort of thing. So like real rustic Texasy and stuff. And he's always like, unshaven, like want some barbecue, best barbecue in, out of Texas or whatever. So I kind of like that show. And then the movie, I'm like, that's what I want to do with my life. That's great. And like at the time, it was still like
a Marine of you to want to be a rundown barbecue.
Yes, absolutely.
It's part of the course.
The best
It's part of the course,
barbecue.
yes,
Right.
And so, like, I'd watch that movie constantly. Me and my buddies were all in like the old school 80s horror movies and punk rock. So we just made like a big goofy thing behind it. And I ended up getting a smoker, like $100 one, and then like undercooking the ribs because, there's certain temperatures now you got to be at. Yeah, look, big learning curve when there really wasn't that much in 2007. But yeah, I got really obsessed with all that stuff. And then, fast forwarding, went to culinary school. So I went to Kendall College. I got pretty blessed going there. I was like, all right, cool. If I can go on the JAB bill over there, let's rock and roll. So didn't learn a thing about barbecue over there at all. But I learned a thing about, systems in the kitchen, brigades, proper science, not just like, hey, the story of the woman who cuts the tip off the roast and puts it in the oven. And then you ask, well, why'd you do that? Well, it's how my mom did it. I'm like, well, why? I don't know. She just did it like that. Well, the reason why she did that is because your mother, grandma had a small oven. That's why they did that. So like,
That's all that would fit.
that's all that would fit. So like people unknowingly do things and they don't even know why they're doing. You ask them, it's like, well, that's how we did it back in
That's
the
the
day
whole
and shit.
barbecue scene.
Yeah,
man.
it's a whole barbecue scene.
Oh my
And
God,
I'm like, you know what? I am going to go against this whole thing now because Goldie's over in Texas over there inspired me, break all the rules. Because most of the rules are BS anyway. Like, who says you need to cook low and slow? I mean, for me, I love being that chalkboard or the nail on the
Nail on
chalkboard.
the-
Like, hey, guess what? I can do a brisket in 6 hours on the Weber and make it taste good than your 225 barrel smoker over there, buddy. Okay, falling apart, everything. Not too mushy or whatever. But yeah, I'm a hot and fast guy. I get better bark, better moisture retention that way, and I just blow people's minds that way too. Especially all the fat backyard dads that like. I'm completely convinced low and slow is for people that just want to sit in the backyard and drink and
And
get away
sip
from
their
the
drinks.
lights.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best briskets I've ever done was on the Weber kettle, 22-incher, green, thing or whatever, doing the snake method. And, little chunks of wood right there because it's such a concentrated heat source. The heat travels better. You get a real nice crust. And then I had this one guy when I was in Florida, because that's eventually where I'm moving to, a realtor. We're talking barbecue and all that stuff. And of course, his eyes are lighting up because, not to say anything about the weight, but, I'm Cuban, he's Puerto Rican. So we both have an appreciation for pork and all that stuff. And, bringing out the natural flavors and stuff, not just overkilling it with flavor. But he's like, I'm like, yeah, I go hot and fast. He's like, well, you see, this guy says you got to go low and slow because of fat rendering collagen rates. I'm like, okay. So I'm just going to give you all the shit that I know from proper scientific books and shit. I'll just give it to you then because you could just run my business and all that stuff. Because like, please don't. And it's like, I don't try to sound big headed or anything, but I'm like, it's like going to the gym. People doing all this high volume stuff. I don't do high volume anymore. It's a waste of time. I get better results. Short, sweet, to the point intensity. But you have to have an understanding of proper science behind it. And if you even look at it too, what is proper science? Because science is always changing all
Oh
the
my
time.
God, yeah.
All the time. Even, I'm sure you might have the book, what is it, On Cooking by Harold McGee, the big, thick red book. It has like more than what you need to know, like about food science and shit.
I probably need to read it, but I'm far from classically trained.
Check it out. Check it out. Phenomenal book. It is a secret weapon.
What's the name of the one?
It's called On Cooking, Harold McGee something. He wrote a book called Charcuterie. It's just a really big, thick red book. And I kind of commandeered it from one of my friends in culinary school. I haven't talked in like 10 years. I'm like, can I borrow this book?
I like commandeered.
Oh, me too. And I'm like looking at,
Technically acquired.
yeah, there you go. And I'm looking at like, when I was doing amateur, barbecue competition, just like ribs and chicken. And I was like watching a lot of Myron Mixon stuff. Cause like Myron Mixon, he's like the complete rebel of the whole thing, winning Memphis and May Grand Championships with 4 or 5 hour briskets. I'm like, what the fork? I'm not going to say the F word, but I'm like, no pun intended, fork, right? But I'm like, that is insane. But again, you trim it right, that heat just penetrates in there and just blast right through the stall and just very
Yeah.
unorthodox and all that stuff too. So it's like you got to be unorthodox, not just follow with what grandma said and so forth and this, that, and the other, because you could be limiting yourself.
So
and
I want to
stuff.
chime in on that just because I taught at a culinary school. I'm a
Okay.
chef by trade.
Right.
You
You did some stuff at Kendall, right?
I used to instruct a little bit over at Kendall, but
Yeah,
I was Lake Court on Blue in Scottsdale.
Okay.
So during my time, 4 kitchens, 300 staff plus catering. You have to. A true chef is design and make sure everybody gets it right. That's really what it is.
Right.
You don't see the light of day. You are first in, it's dark. You are last one out, it's dark. And there's no light. Best job in the world is sous chef because same amount of money and
Right.
And so when I learned that the hard way,
Right.
I was an instructor for saucier and meat fabrication.
Okay.
So what I love about you, Jason, is number one, I saw you doing not too long ago. Quick story.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I got a smoker. Just give me like 5-minute quick tip.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
We were
okay.
there for like an hour and a half, and
Uh-huh.
he was still going. He's like, dude, I know I'm ranting, but this
Right.
is all real shit. And he's not wrong. His technique is 100% correct in science. Also, slow can work too because it's still runner's fast. It's what you do. You are by the bars with your truck. You need your shit done and done now and perfectly done and fast for everybody's sake.
Absolutely.
People that go low and slow are family people.
Right.
They are backyard sippers, like you said.
Right.
They're waiting on people to come in. They want
Right.
to wake up. They want that process. I gotta get up at 2 in the morning to check that meat.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's part of like a
Right.
ritual.
Right.
But if you look at Jason, he's built. His workouts are direct, impact, and simplistic. He doesn't overcomplicate shit. Right?
I
Look at
go
shirt.
for more
It's
the
Charles Bronson.
yes.
From Death Wish.
Death Wish 3.
You know, his tattoos.
Blown away
there
gangbangers
is-
with a
there
30
is
caliber
no-
Browning, you know?
There is no mistaking that your science will work because you figured it out.
Right. And I like to have the like the mysterious look, because I like, you know, for people it's like, wow, you actually like, you know all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, what do you think? I'm just full of tattoos and stuff. Like I did a Johnny's beef versus Babos, and like Chicagoans are the worst when it comes to critiquing stuff.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done this. And like I was dumbass in the parking lot eating these 2 beefs, post it, and then you know I get 80,000 views later. I'm like, where's this coming from? I don't know if I can handle this fame and stuff like that. Like, holy crap.
Well, and it's cool because we saw Bueno Brothers versus Portillo's.
Okay.
You know, and I've been watching. I've been following
Right.
you on that.
Well, crap.
We have a show here that we're going to be doing called Let's Eat here
Okay.
in Crystal Lake. Love for both of you guys to join.
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
A
Yeah.
couple places.
Tell me more about it.
You know,
Sure.
truth matters because if and truth can be based on somebody's opinion. It doesn't need to be like, hey, I like deep dish pizza, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I grew up on the South Side. Mr. Giordano made my pizza.
Right.
Right. That was different then. 100%. I grew up thin crust, crispy,
Yep.
tavern style,
Yep.
brown on top,
Yep.
sausage only.
Yep.
You know, I come from a
Little
large Italian
undercarriage on the
family.
bottom, little char on the bottom.
And
There,
the
so.
only thing culinary school really did for me was perfect my craft on mise en place, knowing where everything belongs.
Yeah.
My father's mother sauces, so I can make different things other than Italian food.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And my knife skills.
Right.
Oh, it's so
everything
huge.
else based
Yeah.
on temperature and everything else, knowing that you're not going to get somebody else sick.
Right.
Everything else is based on you. You know, when you're in the kitchen and you come up and you know flavors, if you know flavors, and we all know baking is a science compared to cooking.
Yeah.
That's my wife, not me.
I don't touch it
You
either,
want
man. I'm with
something?
you.
I don't touch that shit. I want to add a little bit of more, throw some maraschino cherries. She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so I respect the hell out of everything you're doing. I do follow you for Semper Fi Chef at the
Yeah.
different bars that you go to and everything. I highly recommend folks that, you know, check out his Facebook page because realistically, if you see him coming to your area and you don't go try it, you're losing big time. Because his stuff is on point.
Thank you. I actually had I got to do a shout out. Biker Dude Burgers, one of my favorite smash burgers. As a matter of fact, he was one of the OGs over at Veteran Path to Hope back
Who's
in
that,
the day.
Kevin?
No, this is Darren,
Darren?
Biker Dude Burgers. So
okay.
he was over there at the McHenry place a couple times, and like I'm like, someone's making burgers, or because they did a Wednesday night dinner that I was there years ago and all that stuff. I'd show up there every time. I was like, burgers, who gives a shit? Like, whatever. I was thinking it was like one of the veterans burning the shit or whatever like that. So I was like, whatever. And then I see like they're coming in these little styrofoam perfectly knit boxes and all that stuff. And I take a bite out of it. I'm like, oh shit, this is like the best smash burger I've ever had. So I walk out, I'm talking to the guys like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like this is delicious. Like, yeah, bro, it's like, I do this for a living. He sounds kind of like a biker / surfer and all that stuff. Really great guy. He just did a video on me too, like 3 weeks ago, because he's been at me for a while. I was like, bro, we got to do the brisket, because it's just crazy, crazy good and all that stuff. And I mesh a bunch of different techniques from like Central Texas, either doing the butcher paper or uncovered like Goldie's does, so I get really good caramelization, and then some other secrets that I'm not going to be divulging and stuff like that. But you have to have special equipment for that. But it definitely helps me save a lot of time and get a lot of rest too. So like, which provides me to undercook my briskets actually, which is also part of the secret. Undercooking, yes. And then he was doing the video and all that stuff, and it's like, pork shoulder's good, I hammered on the hard outside so I get the nice yellow caramelized fat going on, wrap it up, blah blah blah. But that brisket, like, there's a 10% room for error on that thing. Either you overcook it or you undercook it. It's going to be tough, or it's going to be too mushy. And I'm like, as he's filming this, I'm like, please, like, I got like the straight look on my face and all that stuff, and I'm unwrapping the butcher paper because I do a little different, or a couple different techniques together, so all that moisture just stays. And I got the nice black bar cut in the center, and just I got all that collagen dripping out, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, shit, oh, pardon my language, and like it was just probably one of the juiciest briskets I've ever done, because the collagen on the point section, it just almost was like jello at that point, and I was like, wow, thank God. So
I'm like really disappointed. You're talking about all this, and you didn't bring any in.
No, I'm actually
example. You're just making us drool over here.
If you go to Fish Lake, on the 3rd, and then I'll be over at Island Lake on the 4th. I'm praying to God it doesn't rain both those days. I'll be out over there slinging the cue. But I mean, besides the fact of like, perfecting, constantly perfecting the craft, when anyone's doing a restaurant or a business, at the end of the day, it becomes the business more so than the actual cooking aspect, because it's like you need to have sustainability. So like when I try to coach people that are doing like either a food truck or a pop-up, because Biker Dude inspired me to do the pop-up, because I'm like, okay, so you don't have to have a truck. You could have a canopy, and you had like a, flat top Blackstone griddle and all that stuff. And like, he's just crushing it. He's in a book now too of like different burgers and stuff. I'm like, man, that's awesome. Real down to earth guy. But so 10 by 10 canopy. And then I got a toe behind grill, all that stuff. And it's like, it's not what you add to the business. It's what you can strip away, because you got to think like an engineer. You think like a scientist, cook like a chef, think like an engineer. So like when I go to my setups, 25 minutes, I get all that stuff set up. And then, most of the time it's just me writing the check and then taking the cash and serving it up, because all the food's already done hours prior and all that stuff. And so when I tell people, sorry, my bad.
Quick here, because you've got the food truck.
Yes.
And Payton's got a restaurant. So we want to hear about the restaurant. How did this all come along?
Yeah, for sure.
And
so
what is
I'll tell you all about it. So I was separating, and I knew I wanted to start a business, but I didn't know what it was. I was too comfortable with where I was in Missouri. The Air Force was just, I knew what I was getting myself into. It's like things were always changing. We'd have, 12-hour weeks, where we're working 12 hours a day, and nothing fazed me. So I wanted something that was more challenging. And I got out, talked to my grandfather, who had run a successful jewelry business over in Woodstock, and he was retired. He was doing his own thing. And so I started going back and forth on different ideas. I was like, I helped my dad buy this crane. Maybe I'll, just pay off the rest of the crane. You know, he's moving, and I'll take over the crane business. And him and everybody I talked to was like, stay the hell away from that. So, sorry, pardon my language. So,
Oh no.
so they swayed me away from that, but he's like, go talk to this guy, Mason. He started a wakeboard and ski school up in Lake Geneva. He's your age. You know, you guys are gonna get along a lot better than we are, because my grandfather and I butt heads like crazy. Love him to death, but you know, we are very, very type A personalities. So we start talking with this guy Mason, and we're both 24. We both grew up, born and raised in Woodstock. He went to North, I went to Central. And so we start talking about different business ideas. And one day my grandpa comes to us. He and I, God, any idea? I'm like, all right, you know, here it goes. Here comes the hour-long pitch. And he's like, I've got this beautiful restaurant space. Everybody who's gone in there has failed. I need a tenant. And I've been doing smoked meats the last 40 years. So if you guys are interested, I'll teach you everything I have to learn, and you guys can do this thing. Because I'm 77. I don't have the ability to run this. You guys are young, you're spry, and I'll teach you everything. So we started doing this catering business just over a year ago, doing smoked meats. And about halfway through the journey, my grandmother, you know, being 30 years cancer-free, we're doing a celebration in the event space.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, stage 4 ovarian cancer. So she's like, I have to make it for my kids, my boys. I have to be alive to see them graduate. So, and she's still here today.
Mhm.
So we're doing this event at the space, and we fire up the wood-fired pizza my grandfather built in this space right attached to his old jewelry store. He built a restaurant space for events.
Mhm.
And so we did this event, and we do a bunch of pre-made doughs, and the feedback was tremendous. People were like, oh my God, these pizzas are awesome.
Nice.
And we're like, God, if that's what we can do with pre-made doughs, we got to start making stuff in-house, because we make everything in-house.
Yeah.
And so we get a recommendation from the executive chef of Cooper's Hawk. Chris Kodke, he kind of designed some of their menus, and he's like, go to this place in Lisle called North American Pizza and Culinary Academy. They'll teach you what you need to know. So we go there, we spend a few days there, getting trained in Neapolitan pizza,
Right.
and we bring what we learned back. We make a few of our own modifications to the base dough recipe they gave us, and start ripping. And so we start doing events, you know, catering events in the space, doing wood-fired pizzas, barbecue, a bunch of family made from scratch sides that we got from family and friends, and things were kicking. And we're like, God, you know, Woodstock needs something different. We have no barbecue. We lost Porky's. We lost Barbecue King.
Yeah.
There's nothing, you know, and the only wood-fired pizza place, you know, they're primarily a food truck business. They've got a physical location, but they, you know, it's not what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
So we start developing this space, working on a menu, and figuring out what all the processes are going to have to look like to open up.
Right.
And that's what we've been doing the last 3 months. We just opened this last week, Thursday.
Mhm.
Through
Oh, so you guys
Sunday.
are officially
Yeah.
We're officially open.
Nice.
To the
Yeah.
public.
awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet deal.
So
Congrats, yeah.
What is this place called? Because I'm hungry,
I
and
know.
I can, you know, drive through Woodstock to get home. So
Are
Absolutely.
you guys open right now?
right.
Yeah. Thursday through Sunday.
Oh,
We're not open for the 4th.
Got it.
But Thursday through Sunday. So it's called Oak and Alchemy.
Yep.
And the name actually came from my grandfather when he pitched us on this idea a year ago. He already had the name in mind.
Sure.
It's like Oak and Alchemy. Oak, because we're using wood. Everything we do revolves around fire. And alchemy, because we're going to be alchemists. We're gonna start with simple ingredients, and we're gonna turn them into something different. Right? The alchemists were all about experimentation.
Turning base metals to gold and all that.
Exactly. He's like, we're gonna turn food into gold. All right.
That's
And
good.
so that was his pitch to us. And I was like,
awesome.
I love that. You know, we got a bunch of pizza places, we got a bunch of, you know, Mexican places, we got a bunch of, you know, beers and brats and burgers. So
What's the address?
it is 11671 Catalpa Lane. It is right off of 14. So
It's kind of like kitty corner to Blaine's Farm and Fleet, right?
yeah, kind of. Yeah, if you know where Menards is, it's the opposite end of 14 from where Menards is. But yeah,
Okay.
kitty corner to Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
So
So
Yeah.
tomorrow is Thursday.
yes, sir. We are open from 4 to
Yeah.
9 Thursday and Sunday, and
All right.
then we stay open an extra 2 hours on Friday and Saturday for our lounge and bar. So
Nice.
we close the kitchen at 9 all days of the week, but we stay open a little later for the night crowd.
Do you have any
No.
like non-alcoholic craft drinks? Because I haven't drank in 15 years because I had a little bit of a problem.
See,
so.
you're gonna love my sister because she just created a cocktail menu for.
All right.
us. So we have a
Nice.
seasonal. We have some signature cocktails that are gonna stay on the menu, and
All right.
then we have some seasonal ones, and both have a mocktail on both ends.
Very nice. I like that.
Now
Sweet.
you guys have pizza, but you also have other foods.
Yeah.
too.
So our specialties are wood-fired pizza and barbecue. That is the name of our game. And then, on the other side of barbecue, we have a bunch of homemade sides that came from my family. So my great grandfather had these potatoes that he was famous for. They're like a really unique twist on potatoes with a little sauerkraut in them. And we get so many people that are like, I'm not touching sauerkraut potatoes.
Hell yeah!
I tell you what,
Yeah,
they
all
change
day,
their
man.
mind after a spoonful.
All day. I mean, I'm Polish and German, so of course. Hell yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah.
this is at the restaurant. I can order these potatoes.
Absolutely, yeah. All of our stuff that we do is at the restaurant. We are going to work into catering again. We kind of transition away from that to focus on the restaurant, because that's what we don't know yet. That's what we got to work on. Absolutely, but
So we need to get out there and try it right away.
we'll take
Yes.
fantastic
Yes.
care of you.
At 4.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Or
Yeah.
Or an hour early because we say so.
What's happening right now? I'm doing the countdown.
Well, I doubt that. I'm there early morning and there till 2 at night. So, but if you're into mocktails, we'll give you the most
Sure,
beautiful
sure.
mocktail ever. We got glass straws and all the
Sure.
fancy metal skewers and everything. So
That sounds good. I
we want
like
to do it. We want to do it right.
Sounds
and
good.
do you have indoor seating?
Yes,
do you
we
have
do.
outdoor seating as
We
well?
do. We have a patio area that our head server and my sister actually curated. So we went out to my grandpa's house, cut down some fresh willows, and trim the base so we could stick it in the ground. And so we made a lattice structure out of this willow. So it's going to
Nice.
grow
Wow.
and plant its roots into the ground.
Yeah.
And then we've got some Boston ivy that we planted at the base. So
Okay.
they grow like 3 to 10 feet every year. So
Wow.
we're gonna fill this. It's like a sort of like a pergola sort of thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna fill it with. We already filled it with the lattice structure, and it's gonna be filled with ivy. So you just see greenery all around.
Sure.
You're not looking at
Nice.
buildings or anything
Yeah, I like
else.
that. It's awesome.
Nice.
I mean, these are two great examples of veteran small businesses that,
Yep.
from your own passions, it sounds like in family history,
Yeah.
been able to create something that is worthwhile and creates a legacy.
Yeah.
It's funny. I already knew about you before that. I didn't realize it until you started talking.
Mhm.
I knew about you
You've
because
heard
Bob
about it.
Okay.
told me about you because we did a pop up before we were open.
Over
we
at
did,
Kishwaukee,
we
right?
did a pop up at Kishwaukee, and he was telling me all about you. He's like, "Yeah, man, Jason. He's the reason I started this." And I'm like, "No way!" Like, because he gave me a whole rundown
boy.
on how,
All right.
how motivational you were for him to really get his ass
I'm-
his butt into gear.
Yeah. You can say ass, right? So like donkey, right? So but no, yeah, I try to be as positive as I can and help other people out because I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of being in fear, not knowing what's going to happen next and all that stuff. But with my pseudo intellectual mysticism and all that stuff, this is just one big simulation anyway, kind of Carl Jungian type stuff or whatever. But I can tell when someone crosses my path where it's like quite obvious that, all right, I'm going to help you out and see what's going to go on. It may not lead to cooking or whatever, but as long as I can give you some solid fundamentals up here that can transition either cooking or another business or, a career that you just may stumble upon, which there's absolutely no coincidences in life and all that stuff. But
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you guys both for coming. I guess I didn't share about me and what we do. So
Let's hear it.
my name is Chris Boston, CEO of Veterans Network Association. And so we empower and connect veterans by doing different events and also support groups so they can get connected with one another, other veterans, and other resources in the community, like Josh's resources. And another thing we do is spreading hope. And so this podcast is a perfect example of spreading hope to other veterans, of like hearing about their passions. And it's like, oh gosh, what's my passion? Where do I want to go?
Right.
Which gives them a new mission. a new purpose for where they're going. And we also do our mission cards. So we usually have veteran guests on the show, and we ask them to provide a card or a letter to give to a veteran who needs encouragement. So we get those, we write them ourselves, and we pass them out to over 200 veterans a year.
Oh, wow.
So,
Awesome.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we are very grateful when y'all give us cards.
Sure.
Love the
So
impact.
So
big deal.
real quick question here. You're a fast and hot guy with grilling.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a slow and
Absolutely.
what-
And
slow-
it definitely, I can totally understand why you cook the way that you cook, because it makes so much sense for the food truck business, like
Right.
or the pop-up business, I should
Mhm.
say. With me, I'm like, if I can throw it on at night, wake up in the morning and it's ready to go, and I can prep it all before dinner service, it's perfect. I'm like, if I have to get up early and then make it ready to go in 6 hours, and then now I'm in the middle of, prepping all of my meats
Sides.
as all of my staff are coming in and getting ready to prep all their stations for dinner service. And I'm like, I want it all done in the morning,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's ready to go. And when the staff shows up, they set up their stations and we're ready for service. So
Yeah. Smart.
Well, I do something very similar to that. So, and when I mean like hot and fast, my ideal temp is 275. So still it's technically on the lower side and all that
Okay.
stuff, but I have special convection things that I've added to my cooker that make it to where there's no hot spots whatsoever. So tomorrow, let's say I cook all my stuff throughout the day, and then it's like whatever, and then I put it in another device, and I go to bed. I'm like, I wake up, I just put it on my warmer, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So
Yeah.
like, I've made it to where it's like has so little moving parts, and I'm like, yeah, wow, okay, this is like virtually, I shouldn't say touch free or anything like that, because there's moving involved, trimming and all that stuff, but very, very minimal work because I need to get, to the event, set up all this stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but less is more. But I mean, it's similar to what you're doing, where I love my sleep. I'm not sacrificing that crap for nobody. So if I can go to bed and then wake up in the morning and it's done, absolutely. Because I was doing something like that too. But I mean, I pretty much do it during the day. So, but
Well,
yeah,
thanks
I appreciate
again.
that. So.
Yeah, thanks again. And if you guys want to hear more about each of these guys,
Yeah.
their links are on the description.
Mhm.
You can
Yes,
follow
ma'am.
them on Facebook and hear more of their tips. And be sure to go and visit
4 o'clock tomorrow.
4
Thursday.
o'clock.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Open
that's
up.
a guarantee
Yep,
you get
yep,
the
very
ribs
right.
and brisket, because they sell out fast.
Oh man.
Oh, good to know. Good to
That's
know.
awesome. So real quick
Yep.
around the table before we end the show, any final words, advice, anything to anybody out there listening? Let's start with you. Let's start with you. Just make our way around.
Keep it simple. Keep it very simple. Balance in the kitchen is everything. Don't be cooking with the ego and loading up the menu and all that stuff, because that takes manpower and time. Yeah, just keep it simple. So
I'm going to have to steal the Marine motto, even though I'm not a Marine. Adapt and overcome.
Yep.
You can do it. Yeah.
God, so now I'm going to be cheesy too, but I tell you what, of all the things that I learned in the Air Force, the one that stuck with me through all of my culinary is just excellence in all you do. If you're going to do it,
Mm.
it's worth doing right. There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And as always, connect with your local community leaders, your VSOs, your Marine Corps leagues, your American Legions, VFWs. If you're looking for community, that's where you're going to find it.
Amen.
Support. Hey, listen, this is Cappuccino, 216 Creator Studios on the old YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And Mike is be the change that you want to see today in the world.
Nice.
Until next time, folks, Roger That Chronicles out.